From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, security gang. Happy Monday and welcome to another show of the CyberHub Podcast, Monday, June 10th, 2024. I hope everyone had a good, relaxing weekend. If you didn't catch Friday's episode around SaaS security, supply chain to tactical wins with Jaime Velasco of Nudge Security, you missed out on a great episode. It's now available on YouTube and all of our audio listening channels. So go check that out. Some really great tips of how to get your hands around SaaS security. So go check that out. Now, without further ado, we've got a packed show for all of y'all this morning. So let's go ahead, get the ball rolling by, doing my favorite thing on the planet, drinking espresso. It's not my favorite thing on the planet. It's one of my favorite things on the planet. I mean, I love espresso. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. And I love good espresso. I do. I can't have Starbucks. Like, just horrible. The whole idea that that's an espresso is, it's kind of like McDonald's idea if that's a burger. All right, let's go ahead and catch up with Christie's auction house that suffered a ransomware attack. It's now saying that the information of 45,000 individuals was compromised as part of that ransomware attack. The information was submitted to the Maine Attorney General office when the intrusion was detected just a short month ago. The investigation shows that they managed to steal some files containing personal information. The type of data compromised, besides names, was driver's license number and non-driver identification card numbers. Impacted individuals are given 12-month free fraud monitoring services that's available to every American on the planet. So there's that. The Ransom Hub team is the one behind this one. They say they've got names, birth date, addresses, and data from identification documents. They say they've stolen information belonging to 500,000 Christie clients from around the world, but it appears they may have been exaggerating their claims, or they just saw 500,000 line items without really looking into any sort of duplicates or anything else like that. They tend to kind of do that stuff. So there's that news. If you've been living under a rock for the last few weeks, you might recall Windows recall feature that Microsoft's pushed out and kind of forced it on everyone on Copilot and PCs. The feature, who has a ton of benefits here or there, was really kind of looked at as a security and privacy risk, simply because it was going to essentially take a screenshot, create a digital memory of everything you do on your computer. And so that way, if there was ever an issue, you could go back and get all of that data again. However, security researchers documented several ways malware could be designed to steal Windows recall data. And Google Project Zero researcher James Forshaw provided evidence that Windows recall data is poorly protected on Windows. The criticism spread to mainstream media. The software maker reverse coursed on Friday. Finally, it would change the setup experience of Copilot and PCs to give Windows users a clearer choice to opt in to saving snapshots of their PCs using recall. They'll also require Windows Hello Enrollment to enable the feature, and proof of presence will be required to view and search through the screenshots saved in recall. And this, my friend Ernesto here, who's joining us from Buckeye, Arizona. Good morning, good sir. He's drinking Black Rifle coffee, iced though. Can't do iced coffee, Ernesto. I'm sorry, bro. All power to you for doing that. I can't do it. So here's the thing about Microsoft. Here's the thing. Not sketchy at all, right? I love this. All right. So here's the thing. So Microsoft goes, let me roll out a feature to help you with ransomware and all this other cool stuff, right? Everyone goes, hang on a second. Let us check this out. Now, Microsoft CEO Satya said that they were a security company several years ago. When he took over Microsoft, he said, we're now a security company. We're going to be focused on security. We're going to drive security forward. And they've made a bunch of acquisitions around security. They've been hammered around security. And yours truly here, past episodes, have been a defender of Microsoft. I can't defend this, Microsoft. I'm sorry, I can't. It's not that you pay me to defend you, but I like to use common logic. And common logic here says you push something out because You live in a culture of yes, and not a culture of entrepreneurship. And I think that's the Microsoft problem. All in all, when you look at the Microsoft challenges that they've experienced over the last several years, from SolarWinds there on out, they live in a culture of yes, where someone with some rank or some influence says, let's do this. It's a great idea. And no one says no. No one says, hang on, put stops to it. And then they get carried away with the idea, and they get so carried away that they get hammered over the head. Just so everyone understands, a healthy security team is one that has debate and has arguments and has structured discussions around the idea of why not, why no, is this a good idea, is this really the right implementation, and if you're not doing any of that, then does it really matter? That's been the case here for Microsoft. All of these things that they're doing now could have been done at launch if someone said something. It's really uh it frustrates me, because you see this kind of stuff and you understand it and you go, okay, this could really help small businesses. Absolutely. Put right controls around it. Offer it to small businesses. Go to enterprises, give them the flexibility. Not every enterprise is going to want the feature, but you're forcing it down people's throat. You're introducing security and privacy risks, and you're just now putting in safeguards after everyone was like, hold on a second, we're not doing it. You could do better, Microsoft. You can, and you should, and you should. All right, the New York Times source code was leaked on the white supremacist website 4chan. For those who don't know, it was stolen from the GitHub repository in January of this year. The Times confirmed to Bleeping Computer that the source code is theirs. Basically, all the source code belonging to the New York Times company's 270 gigs worth of source code. There's around 5,000 repos. Out of them, at least less than 30 are additionally encrypted, and 3.6 million files in total in uncompressed tar. The archive was not downloaded by Bleeping Computer to share, but just so you know, someone's looked at it. The one interesting thing here, algorithms. I'd love to see how they base their algorithm on the news you read. Call me crazy. But an unknown user going by the handle of GitLooker is grabbing and wiping clean repos on GitHub in an apparent effort for extortion. Remember how when Russia was using wiper malware on Ukraine, and I said at some point it's going to hit the commercial marketplace, and when it does, it's going to be really, really, really bad. This is it. This campaign right here is which a researcher at a Chilean cybersecurity firm, CroneUp, highlighted in a message on X this week, appears to have been ongoing since at least February of this year. Post on the GitHub community forum suggests that several users have run into the issue over the past few months, although the actual number remains unknown. According to CroneUp researcher German Fernandez, the attackers appear to be exploiting a GitHub commenting and notification feature. With the above, they managed to deliver a phishing email through the legitimate notification at github.com email. In addition, the sender's name can be manipulated by renaming the attacker's GitHub account. They're using two main domains in the campaign, githubcareers.online and githubtalentcommunity.online. On February 22nd, GitHub user CodeLife234 reported an issue involving a friend's account that had been hacked and was subsequently flagged. The compromise apparently occurred after the victim clicked on the link that turned out to be a spam email recruiting for a GitHub developer job. The victim described the attacker as having created and pushed 2 repos to his account and leaving an extortion note as well. So now that's moving to there. They were asking for $1,000 in order not to delete the repos. In other places, they've asked for again, this is coming. So a few action items on this story. One, if you're not monitoring GitHub on the enterprise level, you should. You should offer your security tools on the personal level for your developers. That's really, really important. Most developers have 2 accounts. They've got their corporate account and they've got their personal account where they do their side projects. You want to do both, because once one gets compromised, the second one could as well. There's a justification to do that, not as intrusive, not the same controls, but definitely giving them the same type of sense of security here. And this is starting in GitHub. It will get elsewhere, folks. It will get elsewhere. European elections yesterday were marked by historic victories in several countries where the political tide has turned, including France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and many others. However, Cloudflare is also reporting that the European Parliament elections that were already underway were being targeted by 3 different DDoS attack waves on various election-related sites in the Netherlands, as well as several political parties. The first DDoS attack peaked at 115 million requests per hour, with one site getting hit with 73,000 requests per second for 4 hours straight. The second DDoS attack was a bit higher, reaching 44 million requests per hour and peaking at 52,000. A bit lighter, not higher, reaching 44 million requests per hour and peaking at 52,000 requests per second on one of the targets, again, targeting political sites in the Netherlands. This is now being attributed to a Russian hacktivism. The hacktivist group known as Hacknet took responsibility for the attack, announcing the victims as the PVV Party for Freedom and Forum for Democracy. Both of those were there. This is a relatively new group out of Russia, which may be linked to APT-44, aka Sandworm. The German Ministry of Interior and Home Affairs announced a serious cyber attack on the Christian Democratic Union network, which they were working alongside with the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution to investigate and mitigate as well. And so this is the busiest election season in modern history. Watch these types of attacks. That's just a sample to what's going to keep happening this year. Now let's get to some patching, some vulnerabilities. Let's start off. SolarWinds announcing patches for multiple high-severity vulnerabilities in the ServView and the SolarWinds platform, including a bug reporting for a pen tester working for NATO. They've rolled out version 2024.2. That's the latest SolarWinds platform iteration, including patches for 3 new security defects. So you want to make sure you get that patched up. NVIDIA also released software updates that address multiple high-severity vulnerabilities in its GPU drivers and virtual GPU software. The GPU driver updates rolling out as versions R555, R550, R535, and R470 resolve 5 security defects, 3 of which are rated high and 2 medium. The most severe of them, tracked CVE 2024 00900, could allow attackers to execute arbitrary code, access or tamper with data, escalate privileges, or cause denial of service conditions. You want to make sure you get those done as well. Cisco Talos' research and threat intel unit has discovered 15 vulnerabilities in PLCs made by US-based Industrial Automation Direct. The vulnerabilities impact the Automatic Direct's productivity series PLCs. They all have been classified as having high or critical severities that could be exploited for remote code execution or denial of service attack. Yves Yunan, senior manager at Talos, told Security Week that the impacted PLCs are typically not directly exposed to internet, which means you got to have foothold within there. Shodan does show around 50 devices that may be directly connected to the internet and require immediate addressing. The darknet site for the Kaline gang suspected in the London hospital ransomware attack has gone down. It's not clear why the site is currently unavailable. It was accessible on Wednesday of last week. However, as of Wednesday evening, the site has gone dark and has not been back. This is a critical incident. It might be very similar to the Change Healthcare situation where the attackers actually kind of disappeared, kind of broke apart because they were worried about law enforcement action. Could be the same here. Don't put that too far. That's it for our show this morning, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe. Follow our Substack, jamesazar.substack.com. Follow us on YouTube. Give us that subscribe. Go check out Friday's episode. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern with the latest. If you have any tips, stories, or anything else you want us to cover on the show, please let us know by going to our LinkedIn page or our YouTube channel as well. Till then, have a great rest of your day, y'all. Great week, and most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.